most widely read story was Ron's column about asking the fairness or unfairness or acceptance of asking Russian athletes about the current conflict in Ukraine. And it got huge numbers, and rightly so. It's a very timely and very well-written column by Ron. Ron points out that 5% of NHL is the 5% of the NHL is Russian. 37. There are 37 Russian players currently in the NHL or that were on rosters at his last check. And so the question is right now, is it fair or what's the tack to take with the Russian players? Now, for me, it isn't unfair for journalists to ask Russian athletes in the USA in all sports, but we're talking about hockey here, I guess, i.e. Malkin or Ovechkin or people like that. Questions about what's happening in Ukraine right now. It's a job of journalists to journalize, to do what they do, and I get that. But it's perfectly reasonable for the athlete to not want to engage and simply not answer. I understand that because think about it in these terms. And Ovechkin already did engage and answered. But think about it, just those guys, and especially Malkin, he put his family in danger when he just came to America to play hockey.
Just when he came to live out his dream, exactly.
You know, now I fully understand both sides of it. I don't think they owe anybody any answer. The right play from both sides, for me, is this. The journalist should ask the questions, especially of people who have aligned themselves with Putin in the past. That being said, the right play from the other side is, I'm just not going to comment on that. They don't owe us any answer. But I do think it's perfectly reasonable to ask those questions. On the off chance that the athlete says and denounces Putin, or on the off chance that the athlete takes a strong backing of Putin.
Yeah, no, I think if you're talking to a Russian athlete right now in a media setting, you have to ask the question. And I think it's totally fair. I also do think it's fair for that athlete to your point, say, you know, I'd rather not comment publicly right now. And that, you know, we want people to take strong stands on things, right? Mm-hmm. We do. But I think in this case, this is when you consider probably, I don't know this for a fact, but I'd say most, if not all of those Russian athletes have family back home in Russia, right? And we have an idea of what can happen to someone who's vocally opposed to Putin in Russia, right? It's not good. And so if I were a Russian athlete, I would not want to put my family, close family, extended family, anybody close to me in some sort of peril based on how I responded. And so the best response is probably, you know, I think Ovechkin actually handled it pretty well. I don't know what else you could have asked him to say when he essentially said, you know, I just wish for peace. And he's doing what he can to avoid publicly criticizing Putin because, well, to be quite honest, he's got family back in Russia, and any criticism of Putin could mean God knows what for those people, while also, you know, towing the line of what we all know is acceptable and unacceptable, and what's happening right now is unacceptable.
But I've seen, like, boneheads saying, well, you know, you need to get rid of all the Russian
the Dominic
athletes.
Hasek tweet from the weekend,
right.
Yeah.
I've seen that. Well, were we ready to expel any Middle Eastern athletes during 9/11, in the aftermath of 9/11? I don't think that was the case. No. You know, that to me is a bit much. You can ask tough questions. That's okay. And they have the right to refuse to answer them. It's also a really interesting situation and a unique one in my lifetime, at least. I can't speak for people older than me. This is a time in which only like 9/11 have I seen this, to where universally people in this world have rallied for one country. They did it after 9/11 for America. They're doing it right now pretty much universally for Ukraine. I've not seen this kind of support on a worldwide level other than those two instances in my lifetime, honestly. And it is interesting. But that being said, just because you're Russian doesn't necessarily mean you support Russia, whether you're there or whether you're not there. And I don't think you can work off of that baseline. Even if you supported Putin in the past, like Ovechkin did, that you still do. But that's, again, why I do think I'm perfectly okay with those questions being asked.
Yeah.
You know, like Ovechkin was the other day, Friday, I guess it was, in the press conference in Washington.
And I also think there is a difference between being vocally supportive in the past of Putin. As you know, Malkin was one of many Russian players who had been vocally supportive of Putin in the past. Between being vocally supportive of Putin in public and, you know, sort of leading his campaign for him or starting a joint campaign venture for him as Ovechkin did. That is, and again, it's so hard for me to criticize these guys, even the ones that supported Putin in the past, because I don't know what kind of pressure was on them to do so.
Also, did they think that Putin would become this? He has pretty much become Kim Jong-un.
He's gone. I mean, he's always been a bad dude, but it's gone next level.
Right.
I think even before this, Russians still knew what Putin was capable of. You didn't have to be Russian to know what this guy was capable of. And so I can't imagine what kind of pressure could have been placed, what kind of influence could have been placed on people to provide supportive words for Vladimir Putin. And that's why I have a hard time holding all of these guys to task individually as a group, because if somebody came to me and said, I know exactly where every family member of yours lives, and you're over there on the other side of the globe, how would you like this, or that to happen? What am I going to do? You know? What am I going to do at that point? So I don't know how genuine the support of Putin was by some of these Russian athletes in the past, and I don't necessarily need to ask them to put their loved ones in danger in order to answer a question.
No, I agree. There are people who are saying that, you know, they ran PR for Putin and now they're running and hiding. I don't necessarily know if that's the case. And again, that's exactly why I'm okay with asking the questions. Like, I do think it's perfectly fair for Evgeny Malkin to be asked questions. Absolutely perfectly fair. I think it was perfectly fair what happened with Alexander Ovechkin the other day. And if they want to say, I don't want to answer, that's fine. But I definitely think it's a journalist's job to ask those questions right now.
No, you can't go into a meeting with a Russian athlete right now and not ask him about it.
I agree with that.